What is GDP? Gross domestic product, or GDP, is the total market value of all final goods and services produced within a country's borders in a specific time period, typically a year. It serves as a comprehensive measure of a nation's overall economic activity and is used to gauge the health and size of an economy. GDP can be calculated using three approaches: production, income, and expenditure, all of which should theoretically yield the same result. It's a crucial indicator for policymakers, economists, and investors, helping them make informed decisions regarding economic policy, investments, and resource allocation. Let's analyze the top 10 countries based on their GDP from 1980 to 2024. In 1980, the global economic landscape was heavily dominated by the United States, which had a GDP more than double that of the second largest economy, Japan. This period marked the height of Japan's economic boom, as it was rapidly industrializing and becoming a global leader in technology and manufacturing. European economies like Germany, France, and the United Kingdom also held significant positions, reflecting their strong industrial bases and recovery from the economic disruptions of the previous decades. In 1985, the global economic landscape was still heavily dominated by the United States, with a GDP of $4.347 trillion, significantly higher than that of Japan, which held the second position with $1.301 trillion. This period saw Japan continuing its rapid economic growth, driven by its advanced manufacturing and technology sectors. European countries like Germany, France, and Italy maintained strong economic positions due to their robust industrial bases. Notably, China's GDP was still relatively low at $0.239 trillion, reflecting its early stages of economic reform and opening up to global markets. In 1990, the United States led the global economy with a substantial GDP of $5.963 trillion, nearly double that of Japan, which held the second position with $3.065 trillion. This period marked Japan's economic peak before its prolonged stagnation. Germany, France, and Italy followed, showcasing the strong industrial and economic base of Europe. China, while still in the early stages of its economic reforms, had a relatively low GDP of $0.390 trillion, foreshadowing its future rapid economic growth. In 1995, the United States maintained its position as the world's largest economy with a GDP of $7.664 trillion, followed by Japan at $5.449 trillion, reflecting its economic strength despite the beginning of its lost decade. Germany held a strong third place, underscoring its economic resilience and industrial base within Europe. Meanwhile, China, with a GDP of $0.728 trillion, was on the verge of rapid economic growth that would significantly alter global economic dynamics in the coming decades. In 2000, the United States led the global economy with a GDP of $10.289 trillion, nearly double that of Japan, which held the second position with $4.871 trillion. Germany, the United Kingdom, and France rounded out the top five, reflecting the strong industrial and financial sectors in Europe. China, with a GDP of $1.211 trillion, was beginning to show significant growth as it continued to integrate into the global economy. Emerging economies like Brazil and Spain were also notable, though still much smaller in comparison to the leading economies. In 2005, the United States continued to dominate the global economy with a GDP of $13.037 trillion, far surpassing other countries. Japan remained a significant economic power with $4.737 trillion, while China, rapidly growing, had a GDP of $2.287 trillion, indicating its rising influence. European countries like Germany, the United Kingdom, France, and Italy held strong positions, showcasing their established industrial and financial sectors. Meanwhile, emerging economies such as Brazil and Spain were also notable players, though their GDPs were much smaller in comparison to the top economies. In 2010, the United States maintained its position as the world's largest economy with a GDP of $14.958 trillion, followed by China, which had grown significantly to $6.065 trillion. Japan remained a major economic power with $5.716 trillion, while Germany and France continued to represent strong European economies. Notably, Brazil and India emerged prominently on the list, reflecting their rapid economic growth. Canada also maintained its position within the top 10. This period saw India and Brazil entering the top 10, showcasing the shifting dynamics and growth of emerging markets. In 2015, the United States remained the largest economy with a GDP of $18.219 trillion, followed by China, which continued its rapid growth, reaching $11.232 trillion. Japan and Germany held their positions as significant economic powers with $4.389 trillion and $3.378 trillion, respectively. The United Kingdom and France also maintained their spots among the top economies, reflecting stable European economic performance. Notably, India emerged as a major player with a GDP of $2.290 trillion, showcasing its growing influence. Brazil and Canada remained in the top 10, though their positions were more vulnerable due to economic challenges. The most significant new entry was India, reflecting its rapid economic development, while traditional economies maintained their ranks. In 2020, the United States maintained its position as the world's largest economy with a GDP of $22.675 trillion, followed by China at $14.342 trillion, continuing its significant growth trajectory. Japan and Germany held their positions as major economic powers with $5.048 trillion and $3.860 trillion, respectively. India emerged strongly with a GDP of $2.869 trillion, reflecting its rapid economic expansion. The United Kingdom, France and Italy remained key players, while Canada and South Korea completed the top 10 list. Notably, South Korea entered the top 10, highlighting its economic resilience and technological advancements, while Brazil exited the list due to economic challenges. In 2024, the United States continues to lead the global economy with a GDP of $25.463 trillion, followed closely by China at $17.963 trillion, reflecting its ongoing economic expansion. Japan and Germany maintain their strong economic positions with GDPs of $4.231 trillion and $4.072 trillion, respectively. India has seen significant growth, reaching a GDP of $3.385 trillion, highlighting its rapidly developing economy. The United Kingdom, France, Brazil, Italy, and Canada also remain in the top 10, demonstrating their stable economic environments. Notably, Brazil has re-entered the top 10, emphasizing its recovery and growth, while South Korea has exited the list. What do we expect in terms of GDP growth in the near future? In the near future, the global economic landscape is expected to undergo further shifts as emerging markets continue to grow and developed economies adapt to new challenges. The United States is likely to maintain its leading position, driven by technological innovation, consumer spending, and strong financial markets. However, China's GDP is projected to continue its rapid ascent, potentially narrowing the gap with the United States as it diversifies its economy and boosts domestic consumption. India's growth trajectory remains strong, supported by a large and young population, expanding middle class, and advancements in technology and manufacturing. This growth could see India moving even higher in the global rankings. Japan and Germany, while maintaining their positions, may face slower growth rates due to aging populations and economic structural changes. European economies such as the United Kingdom and France are expected to continue experiencing moderate growth, influenced by factors like Brexit for the UK and economic reforms in France. Brazil's re-entry into the top 10 underscores its potential for recovery and growth. Driven by its vast natural resources and agricultural exports, overall, the global economic future will be shaped by technological advancements, demographic changes, and geopolitical developments. Emerging economies are likely to play increasingly significant roles, challenging the traditional dominance of established economic powers. Thank you for watching our video on the top 10 countries by GDP from 1980 to 2024. We hope you found it informative and engaging. If you enjoyed this content, please give us your feedback in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful videos. Hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest uploads. Thank you.